And we're live, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we're starting our meeting for the Cemetery Commission. This open meeting of the Cemetery Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16th, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. The order allows the Cemetery Commission to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Commissioner Fraser.
Here.
Commissioner Cushman is not with us, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Scott Charpentier.
Present.
Rob Luke.
Present.
And Don LeBlanc.
Present.
Okay. So we're going to go to our agenda. We're going to review and approve the minutes from the February 17th, 2020 meeting. Cheryl, did you read the minutes?
I did, yes.
Do you have any comments or changes or any concerns about anything?
No, I do not.
Okay, I also read the minutes and they appear to be very accurate. So we're going to have a motion by roll call for the approval of the minutes of February 17th, 2021 regular meeting as written or as amended. Commissioner Fraser?
Do you want me to make the motion?
Or
Just
you're going to, yeah, you're going to respond aye or nay.
Aye.
Okay, and I also respond aye, and Catherine Cushman is not present. So the motion passes. Okay. Our next new business on the agenda is consider a letter of support to CPC for funding of the new Kaiser Cemetery signs. So Scott, can you take it from there?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Thank you. We have with us soon Mr. Norm Corbin. An application was submitted to the CPC for consideration for funding for some identification signage at each one of the portals of the Kaiser Cemetery. I'm going to let Norm in so he can talk a little bit about it. I know the signs are needed by the community because all we have is a street sign there.
Correct.
And Norm will be happy to talk to you a little bit about it. I know the CPC has already discussed this once, but it's actually on their agenda for their next meeting for formal consideration. I believe that meeting is next month. It's on the 27th of this month.
Okay. I did personally review the application and all the comments, and it sounds like a great idea. So I'm really interested to hear from the Historical Commission.
Yeah, it's nice to have uniformity in some of our older signage, our historic signage, and I like the one at Howard Street. I think it looks fantastic. So
I do too.
just
Yeah.
another one just further down the road would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're halfway there, Norm. We've got video.
Come in.
Oh, we got you, Norm. I gave
Sorry about that.
Commission a quick briefing, so the floor is yours, sir.
Floor is mine. Oh, okay. So the Historic District Commission is looking to get some funding, some CPA funding for some signage. Several years ago, we put up some signage for the historical parts of the cemeteries. We put some up at Brigham Street and at the burial ground behind the Unitarian Church, and then out on the out down Howard Street where there's some pillars for the what used to be the old main entrance. We put a sign up there. So what's missing is there are no signs for the new section, the Kaiser section of the cemetery. So the land was purchased for that in 1965, so it's over 50 years ago. So it kind of fits the jurisdiction that the Historic District Commission can get involved. So we talked to Scott and we said, you know, why don't we consider putting in a sign at the Whitney Street entrance and at the Howard Street entrance, very similar design to what we've installed before. So that's the request. I have to look up what the funding is. Scott, do you have it in front of you, or I might have it right here.
Are you talking about the amount requested?
Yeah,
It's $5,124.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's kind of the spiel. DPW would install them, and we'll have to work out the exact details on what the signage would, how it would read. But that would be, you know, after we get the funding for it, we can work those details out.
Thank you, Norm. I do agree that this is a great idea. I know where the cemetery is, but coming down Whitney Street, I always have to like slow down to a crawl to figure out where that opening is. So it'll be nice to have a sign there, and on the Howard Street side as well. I feel like, I agree. Cheryl, how do you feel about things?
I actually took a drive by the cemetery today and went right past it and had to turn around and come back. So
Yeah,
that's good.
All right. So I think at least the two commissioners that are present, we agree that this is a good idea. So Scott, is it okay to call a motion on this at this point?
Yeah, the process will be, Cheryl will issue a letter of support. Gail, you second, you vote. I'll draft the letter. I'll send it to both commissioners. It'll be an email because we don't really get together and sign things anymore. And you guys will concur via email, and I'll get it over to CPC, and they'll have the written correspondence from the commission voicing your support for this application.
Okay, perfect.
I just want to have one question on the price. Is there any concern about price creep or increase, or?
Actually, that's a good question. We did get the date on the quote was probably in November. So I think there's a contingency. I have to look it up. I think we put a contingency in of 5%, which
Yes.
falls short of current inflation rates, because this wouldn't be purchased until next. We can't buy it until after July the 1st. So
If there was a funding shortfall, let's say the cost went up 10%, $510, and there's a 5% contingency buried in, $300 or $400 out of the operating budget is something Public Works would certainly support and fund.
And we also have a small budget that would be available if need be. So I think we can cover that.
I meant Norm could cover that out of his budget. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Good question, Cheryl.
All righty. Okay, I guess I will make a motion to provide a letter of support for the cemetery signs for the new Kaiser section.
And I second that. And we'll take a vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. And the motion passes. Okay.
All right, very good. Thanks for this, and hopefully we can get it through the CPC and get it onto the town warrant. That'd be great.
Thank you so much, Norm.
Hey, no problem. Hey, have
Thank
a good week. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so our last item on the agenda is consideration of the memorial stone for the Durkin lots. I'm not really apprised of what's going on there, so Scott, can you kind of fill us in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to give you an update. We have Mr. Michael Durkin, who's going to attend as well in a similar fashion that Norm did on behalf of, his family. And I'll just give you a little history. So we'd emailed out the sketch of the memorial. it resembles a bench. You know, in the past, the Cemetery Commission has, and Don can extrapolate on this quite a bit, has leaned against allowing benches as memorials. We looked through the regulations. There is no specific exclusion of benches in the regulations. There are dimensional criteria. So we considered internally from an operations perspective on what is potentially problematic with benches. One problematic component would be that there's typically two legs that support it. That can be a maintenance issue with our grounds crew, just trying to, string trim around the two legs and keep, the vegetation managed around it. In addition, often the back of a bench is angled and can sometimes be beyond the limits of a mower deck, so to speak, and it could pose a hazard to mowing operations. So what I did was I expressed to Mr. Durkin, as well as his memorial company that he's considering, that if they keep all of the dimensions within the regulatory dimension criteria, and nothing extends beyond the granite base, and there is a granite base provided, it would comply with the letter of the regulation. But I further expressed to Mr. Durkin that I prefer that it go before the commission for consideration, so that the commission can hear from him and consider the operational component from Don and myself and make an educated decision. Don, do you have anything to add to that?
We've had requests in the past to have a bench or a memorial, and we've always said no, just because all the stones over there are similar as a normal headstone. And we thought that once you say yes to one bench, you're going to have people requesting all different kinds of memorials, and that's why we've always just gone with no on anything other than a regular headstone. But I do agree with you as far as if it does, the back needs to stay within the bottom of the memorial, so it doesn't go into the mowing path. That's what I got.
Okay. I'm going to let
Thanks,
Mr. Durkin in, if it's okay with you, Madam Chair.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So before Mr. Durkin discusses things, I want to express a little bit about the public interest and support of this application. Before the meeting opened, there was numerous residents expressing support for this. They included Mr. and Mrs. Pantazis, Mr. Volcano, Kimberly Bagney. There were several other residents who were expressing support for acceptance of this memorial. So I just wanted to let the commissioners know that there were quite a few folks that were interested in expressing their support. Unfortunately, this meeting was not advertised for public comment, so it was not appropriate for them to comment in open meeting to express their support. But I'm here echoing that. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Durkin, if it's okay with the chair, the floor is yours. You're on mute, though, Michael. You're on mute, Michael.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, simply put, I'm just requesting signatures so I can have this monument put in production at Worcester County Memorial for my two daughters so they can rest in peace and I can rest in peace when I go there. I'm sure you all have a drawing of the memorial.
Yes, we do.
Yes, yep.
Is there any questions I can answer?
So I have a question. So Scott, this drawing that we're looking at right now is within the dimensions that are required for the cemetery, correct?
That is correct. The
Okay.
key components of the sketch are that the top rear of the memorial does not extend beyond the base. And if you'd like, I'm going to share my screen, I think, somehow.
Okay.
So that people can see what we're talking about. There it is.
Okay.
You can see the memorial.
I can, yeah.
Yes, yep.
So the key
Okay.
components, the 16 inches by 48 inches by 36 inches, those are the dimensional criteria that are in the regulations.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to start by saying, I know that we have never allowed benches in the past. However, I do feel that we need to consider this. As time goes forward, people need different things for memorials, and I do believe this is something that we need to think about. I personally have no objection as long as it's within what we can maintain. In other words, and that they can get the weed whacker into or get the lawnmower into. Can I just ask, Michael, I don't know if you can answer this, is what is the bench made out of? Is it wood? I know the bottom is granite. Is it wood or what is the
Granite.
material?
It's all granite.
All right, so the bench is granite as well.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So to me, that makes it a pretty durable memorial, rather than, having wood that needs to be maintained. So, I do really feel as a commission, we need to consider this. Cheryl, how do you feel about things?
When I first looked at the bench drawing, I thought it was a separate structure to be put on the plot, and then read through the specs for what is allowed, and then realized that it was, I guess, taking the place of a headstone. So long as it's within the dimensions that are currently allowed, it's different, but I like it.
I do too. I do too. And I think, like I said, going forward, we need to change every now and then to accommodate what our citizens really would like.
Mhm.
From what I see, it's a very, very nice looking memorial. For Michael Durkin and his family, he lost two daughters, and I think this is a beautiful memorial. So I have no objections. Scott, from here, do we need, if Cheryl and I both feel that this is appropriate, do we need to have the public input for it?
We don't, I'll let Michael know what I expressed this to some of the members of the public who are looking to speak. When I indicated to them, it's not appropriate in that we don't have public comment in this agenda, so we're not going to allow it in an open meeting.
Right.
But in the event it was deemed as necessary in that there was a split commission opinion, then we would certainly just continue and have it at a future meeting where we could post for public comment.
Okay.
It sounds like both commissioners are of a positive opinion of the memorial, so I don't believe that's warranted. So if we would, if you would just engage or entertain a motion and take the vote the way it sounds like it'll go, there's no need for a future consideration.
Okay, perfect. Cheryl, do you want to raise a motion?
I will make a motion to accept the memorial for the Durkin Memorial.
Yeah. And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you, members of the commission. I see Don LeBlanc on. Is that Don LeBlanc from Franklin Circle?
It is Junior.
Oh, geez, how's your old man?
He's doing all right. He's doing
Tell
good.
him I said hello.
I will, right.
In our youth, we had a lot of fun.
All right, yeah, I've heard a lot.
All right, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Michael, just have Worcester Memorial reach out to me with the final sketch before they go to production. I want to make sure that they meet the regulations without any issues during manufacturing, okay?
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so there are no more agenda items, new business. What I did want to revisit is my resignation will be forthcoming in May as I plan on my move in June. So Scott, I'm not quite sure. I know there are 3 commissioners now. I'm the chairperson. So what happens? Do we vote somebody else in and then look for new commissioner, or what? How does this work as far as that goes?
What I would like to do is schedule a firm meeting. You're submitting your resignation in May, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I would like to have a firm, is it the end of May, beginning of May, you know?
It'll be the end of May. We're moving on June 13th.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we schedule a firm commission meeting for the beginning of May?
Okay,
And in the meantime, the task of you two, as well as Commissioner Cushman, is to try to find a third commissioner. You know,
Yeah.
we will do the same here, you know, public outreach. I'll do it right now to the general public. You know, if you're interested in serving your community, the Cemetery Commission is a wonderful starting point. It's a wonderful continuation point. It's a great commission. It's a very light lift when it comes to time and commitment, but it's very
Absolutely.
important, as you see from the proceedings tonight. So if we pick a date for the beginning of May, at that point, you can pass off the gavel and, you know.
and then after that, it's just a matter of submitting my resignation, correct?
Just an email saying, you know, ta-ta for now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so that sounds like a good plan. Let's take a look at what works for a date.
So the Tuesdays are the 3rd and the 10th.
Okay, so Cheryl, is either one of those better for you?
We're talking May.
Yes.
Either one work.
Okay, and either one works for me too, Scott. So whatever works for you guys.
All right, Rob, why don't you reach out to Commissioner Cushman, find out if the 3rd or the 10th work for her, and we'll book it in stone, and that will be the official gavel pass.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so let's call an end to the meeting at 6:06.